Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A fresh week on the Lal Street. We are on 17th of Feb, almost into the middle of the week, and there seems to be no end to pain that stocks, mid caps, small caps, large caps are suffering on the Lal Street. As usual, we'll start with the chart of the Nifty, but there is something different this time. What I have presented to you is the weekly picture of the index. What you see in front of you is 22,929 on the index. This is something that is down 102 points on Friday. It is for the 8th successive session that the Nifty has ended lower. On Feb 25th, the index was at a peak of 23,800, and in a span of 8 trading sessions, we've tested 22,780. So almost 1,000-point eroded as far as the index is concerned, and it is now very, very precariously balanced at a very delicate point in its life, which is a 7-month low. This number was last observed on 5th of June, and that is a critical time. That was a critical time for Indian markets because we were recovering from the aftermath of the election day results, which had resulted in a massive knee-jerk reaction on Indian markets. If you check out the 4th June low, that was 21,281. We are still about 1,400, 1,500 points away from that painful time. But why do I raise this issue? This is something that has been tested on the small cap index and the mid cap index. Both these indices are undergoing a tremendous volatility and intense pain. The mid cap index has corrected 18% from its all-time high, and the small cap index has corrected 22% from its all-time high. At least the small cap index is now in what is classically termed as a bear market. Now, what is most likely ahead? Well, we see more pain coming into the markets simply because of the fact that the tariff tantrum thrown in by Mr. Donald Trump seems to be working its way towards India. DI net sales continue to rise in amount, 4,295 crore rupees so far on Friday. Overall, FIs have sold more than 29,000 crore rupees in the first fortnight of February, and if you total out January, when they sold more than 89,000 crore rupees, overall 1.2 lakh rupees has been withdrawn. 1.2 lakh crores has been withdrawn by foreign institutional investors on a net basis from Indian equities from 31st of December 2024 till this Friday. This is a painful time. All you have to do is look for a quality multi-cap fund in case you are trying to enter the markets, and also don't stop in your SIPs as far as the markets are concerned. Now let's look at our guest list for today. We are joined by Mr. Piyush Pandey, Senior Vice President for Equity Research, as also analyst at Centrum Broking. Namaste Piyush ji, and a very warm welcome. I wish we would have conversed in better times, but we are going through a painful period on the Lal Street. How do you see sentiment at this point of time after third quarter earnings are over? What are the 2 or 3 green shoots that you see, and any pain point other than overvalued market that you can highlight?
I would say a couple of things. First, Q3 earnings have been muted across the board. And secondly, like FI sellings, as you mentioned, continues unabated like for the last 2 to 3 months. And finally, I would say like the risk-free interest rate in the US remains very high at around say 4.4%, and that is driving FI selling. There is exodus of money from Indian market to the US markets. So, and also there are risks from like say imposition of new tariffs by this Trump administration that also adds to the risks. And more importantly, I would say that after weak Q2 numbers, we can expect that Q3 GDP would also be on similar lines, and we would see these Q3 GDP numbers by the end of this month. So they would also be on similar lines. And more importantly, of course, demand has slowed down. And if you look at corporate earnings, corporate earnings, particularly for like say, I would say across the board, the earnings growth which you see on YY basis have been muted. So there is a view that the Indian markets are expensive compared to the earnings growth they are delivering. There is a view that they are expensive compared to the earnings growth they are delivering, and in a way, the risk-free interest rate, especially the US market, it remains very attractive, and plus also USD is also appreciating. So for a foreign investor, where you get a reasonably high risk rate in the US market plus appreciating currency of USD, it makes it very lucrative. For India, I would say the green shoots includes like the recent tax cut uh, by the union by the government that can, I would say, revive demand to an extent. And plus I'm also hearing some reports that government might also rationalize the GST administration, like so they might further simplify GST tax slabs and reduce the lower tax GST rates, so which can further support demand. So one thing is that unless demand comes back, you will not see private capex, and in a way that can try a vicious cycle of say a low demand leading to low capex, low earnings, and so in a way, India needs a couple of reforms at this juncture to drive demand, to simplify the ease of doing business, and all those things. Yeah.
As a point of concern, I'd just like to point out to our viewers that on a year to date basis, that is from 31st of December till Friday's close, which was 14th of Feb, it is only globally that the Indian markets are down. They are the worst performers. The Nifty is down almost 3.03%. The Bank Nifty is down 3.5%. In terms of major indices, Bank Nifty is the world's worst performing major index on a year to date basis. Apart from that, you have major gains coming into Hong Kong. Hong Kong is up 18% so far year to date. You have a very strong move coming into the German index, up 7.7% in the last 1 month. If you look at the year to date performance, the DAX is up 13%, the Hang Seng is up 13%. Look at how the French markets are doing. The France CAC 40 index is also up 10.8% year to date. Chinese markets are in the green, up 3.67% in the month of February. Kospi is up 8.8% year to date, and Shanghai is also up 3%. So in terms of overvaluations, it is only us that is now being taken to the cleaners. Even the Nasdaq is up 3.7%. The S&P 500 is up 4% so far in the month of between Jan and Feb. So this is the state of play as far as markets are concerned, ladies and gentlemen. Let's again get in touch with Piyush. Piyush, in terms of stock performance, we have 4 or 5 stocks that have outperformed within the Nifty. They are the Bajaj twins, Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv. You have a strong move that is coming into Bharti Airtel. When you look at other winners within the Nifty, you have Maruti, Tata Consumer, and Kotak Bank. Within Centrum, what all are these amongst these are under coverage, and any view that you would have in particular on Bharti or on Bajaj Finance?
Yeah, so my focus area remains IT, telecom, and new age companies. So for the stocks which you mentioned, I would say Bharti remains a very strong performer, primarily because it has been gaining customers consistently. Plus it has the industry rating ARPU rupees 245. So even in this quarter, you saw that Bharti's ARPU increased by almost 5% Q on Q to rupees 245. And more importantly, it is gaining 4G customers and postpaid customers. And Bharti's management has mentioned that their capex has peaked, and now their capex should moderate in the coming years, and that should further improve their free cash flows, and which will also help them to reduce their debt. So I would say balance sheet deleveraging of the balance sheet, plus we can expect another tariff hike by the end of this calendar year. That should further support revenue growth and operating margin. So Bharti, in a way, plus one important stats I would say that Bharti has considerably reduced its market share gap with Reliance Jio in terms of revenue market share gap. So if you If you look at revenue share market gap of Bharti with Reliance Jio, Bharti has considerably narrowed it versus Jio. And if the trend continues, I should say, if the trend continues, maybe in 2 to 3 quarters, you might see Bharti gaining revenue market share compared to Jio. So that looks good. And plus, I would say Bharti, plus I would say in terms of visibility, I would say, in terms of visibility, in terms of performance of growth and margin, Bharti looks more solid. And I would say, despite market uncertainty about the valuation or the earnings, I would say this is one stock which looks rock solid based on its visibility and based on the current performance in terms of numbers. And also, I would say even in
Fair
the
point.
even,
And
also
this
I
is a
would say,
consensus view.
but also I would say since 1st of Jan also,
Yes, please
since
continue,
first
sir.
of yeah, also I would say since 1st of Jan, when most of stocks have tumbled, Bharti I would say has gained something around say 5-7%. Bharti has gained since 1st of January from year to date. So broadly I would say
Fair
valuation
point.
remains
That's
reasonable.
the reason why I asked.
Yeah.
Please finish what you wish to have.
Yeah.
What you
So
wish
so
to.
that's I would say Bharti remains see especially in the current market where there is a lot of concern about valuation. There's a lot of concern about valuation. Bharti remains a stock where there is more confidence, more certainty about performance going ahead in terms of actual numbers which you would see in the quarterly performance.
Right. So 17.05. This is what Bharti closed as far as Friday is concerned, and the markets are upon us. A very quick journey into the Lal Street. It's looking very, very painful in early start, down 400 points on the Sensex. 22,530 is what we are looking at. I'm sure this will improve for the better, but basically a lower test of a lower level essentially means that those are the spaces that are opening up on the market. And how does it all start? We were praising Bajaj Finance to the skies. It's opening 10% lower, down 839, 7553. This will improve for the better. Let's look at the positives. Tata Motors, 0.5% higher at 685. State Bank of India, flat 722.15. You have Reliance opening 12 rupees lower, 1205. There is pain all around. HDFC Bank is down 5%, 1610. TCS down 83 rupees, 3851. Axis and ICICI Bank 26 and 36 rupees respectively. This is looking very, very painful. There is absolutely no respite on the Nifty, still down 300 points. What is in the green as far as the NSE 500 is concerned? I would like to point out UTI Asset Management up 4.2% at 990. Nothing is looking good, ladies and gentlemen. The Indian Bank is up 3%, 524. Let's look at the FNO space. Union Bank up 9.5%. This is not going to continue. 120 rupees. Muthoot Finance up 5%, 2368. This will also calm down. Sun Pharma up 1.4%, 1724. This looks acceptable. Apollo Hospitals has a bounce back, 2.8% higher. My apologies, Apollo Tires. 2.8% higher, 425. This is how it goes. It's actually getting worse on the Nifty. I haven't seen a 2 percentage point gap down. 464 points lower, 22,464. This is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. There is absolutely nothing we can do about it. Piyush, would you want to comment on the pre-open?
See, I would say that this is sort of like I think there was already being said that valuations are a bit expensive for the Indian markets, and even I would say there was a commentary by a great valuation group by Aswath Damodaran that Indian markets are one of the most expensive in the world compared to the numbers which we are seeing from Q3 and Q2. So in a way, this is sort of I would say a reflection on that valuation, and maybe it will take I would say maybe we are near at the bottom, or maybe it will take few weeks before we reach the bottom. But that is the pain which we have to bear uh, in the near term.
Yes, I think the last line that you say, it's a pain that we have to bear in the near term, is uh, I think the most profound statement that one can think of. Still down 305, 301 points on the Nifty. This is looking terrible, terrible. Most probably what will happen is after the gap down, the Nifty will flatten out, and then you will just see a sideways trend where option writers will make the maximum amount of money. But for those who had rolled over long positions on the hope that after the 8th successive day of fall you just might have a gap up on the Nifty, will be sorely disappointed. Not only will they be sorely disappointed, they'll make a very, very large loss. Still down 200, 210 points, about a percent lower. Let's see if there's been improvement in some prices. I'm very keen to look at Bajaj Finance, that had opened 10% lower. Now flat out, 2390, 83.92. So some respite, but pain continues on the top index heavyweight, HDFC Bank, down 2.6%. How about Reliance? Worse. Now it's down 1.5%. How about Infosys? Infosys at the moment is flat, 1857, and ICICI Bank down 38 rupees, 1222. So ladies and gentlemen, HDFC Bank, Reliance and ICICI Bank are the 3 top index heavyweights on the Nifty, and they are showing deep, deep gashes of red. So this is how it is, unvarnished, and more pain ahead on Dalal Street. At 22,750, we'll be opening at a fresh low. This low is commensurate to the July, my apologies, June 5th low that we had 7 months ago, and this is how markets are starting. Would I like to highlight something positive in the market? Maybe Manappuram Finance, after a fairly sharp sell-off, post disappointing numbers at 183, the counters up 2.7%. Coming back to Piyush, a view on gold financing companies, Mr. Pandey. A very strong set of earnings coming in from Muthoot Finance at a record high, but Manappuram disappointed. Among the two, would you have a favorite?
See, it would be difficult for me to comment on them because primarily my focus area remains on this IT, telecom, and new age companies. So that is where I restrict myself.
Okay, fair point. Gold also, ladies and gentlemen, is at a record high, vacillating between 86,000 to about 500 points lower. So keep an eye out on gold financing companies. A move towards a higher trajectory on gold is traditionally very beneficial to non-banking financial companies that give gold loans, because their underlying security appreciates, and of course they lend about 60-63% of the value of the gold. Therefore the probability of lending more increases dramatically. 906, we are still down 90 points, 22,822. So at the moment I think 22,800 is being tested, but have little hope where it will go. Piyush ji, picks amongst mid caps and small caps. The mid cap index is down 18%, small cap down 22% from all time highs. Any hunting that you are doing at current levels, or are you staying away at Centrum? What are your clients telling you when you discuss mids and smalls?
I would say it is better to I would say stick to multi-cap or flexi-cap funds compared to small cap and mid-cap funds. And because in the current market, I think these flexi-cap and these multi-cap funds, they still leave room for fund managers to maneuver around across market caps. But I would say for the time being, small caps remain risky, and the time for small caps, generally in such tough times, like there you see like say multiple contraction as well as performance. I would say downbeat. So this is where the risk is. So best I would say is to prefer, I would say, multi-cap, flexi-cap funds. I think where there is more flexibility and to maneuver around things in the current economic landscape. But having said that, small cap and mid caps, they remain risky, and see, even if you look at those small companies, the performance has been very, very muted. Right? So generally the expectation is that a small cap stock or a small cap, mid cap company would deliver better performance, significantly better compared to large cap. but that I would say that gap uh, has significantly narrowed. And unless they deliver better performance, it would be difficult to
Okay.
give a premium multiple. So unless a small cap company delivers superior
Okay,
performance,
fair point.
it's difficult to give a premium multiple to a small cap company. So that is what the market is currently discounting in, and we see a valuation correction for those small cap companies.
Okay. The Nifty has settled 120 points lower, 22,810. So this is where the battle will be fought today. This is a very, very crucial level, ladies and gentlemen. We are at 7 months low on the Nifty, and 22,800 has been a level that has been repeatedly tested and held by the bulls. If it goes below, then well, you have a serious slide in the offing. The Nifty Bank has settled 220 points lower. The IT index is trying to open 342 points lower at 40,970. It isn't a pleasant start on Dalal Street. For the ninth successive day, you have the color red dominating both the sentiment as well as the trade is concerned. We are now joined by Prashant Tapse, research analyst at Mehta Securities. Namaste Prashantji, and a very warm welcome to you.
Very good
We
evening.
have a red tick again. How are you assessing sentiment on Dalal Street? What is your view for Monday?
See, despite having a lot of positive triggers in Indian markets today, I was expecting a positive opening. But if you see the settlement of 120 points below this, there may be a lot of pressure still from the global markets. FIs being the net sellers. So this calendar year almost FIs are like 1,20,000 sellers. So I think when we have a weightage of positives and negatives, negatives are still weighing a lot. The Trump fear is still on the cards of markets. So I'm expecting markets to trade very negative again continuously. I think the overall sentiments would be on the technical supports, which is at 22,750. So if market closes below 22,750, I think it can even test 22,500 this week only. So overall, the sentiments remain negative despite having a lot of 3-4 positive points.
Okay, fair point. This is the view that Prashantji has. Mr. Tapse, any stocks that you're looking to short in early trade or maybe go long? What would be your view on the practical part of market? What should be done?
I think I would be going long on M&M. The way how the weekend was with respect to their booking, where he has got almost 8,000 crores of booking for the new EV vehicle. So I think that would be a positive trade for me. Again, on the negative side, again I will go short on banks. Again, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, because that would be the trigger for the markets to bring markets down.
Okay, fair point. This is an interesting thought you've injected in the conversation. Let's get Piyush on the view and request the PCI to fire the longer term chart of Mahindra and Mahindra. Fresh news coming in that the response to their two electric vehicles booking has been tremendous. More than 8,500 crores has been collected in initial bookings, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is more skewed towards the higher end models. Piyush ji, a view on Mahindra and Mahindra, most recent high 3253, and if you take out the last 4 or 5 days, we are now at 2928. This has been one of the great outperformers as far as Dalal Street is concerned, and more so in the auto space. Mahindra and Mahindra.
I need to comment on Mahindra because see, primarily my focus is on IT and telecom and UH companies.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Prashantji, where is M&M headed in terms of chart view?
I think a opening about 3,000 would be a very positive sign for the market. I think that will take the stock to 3,100 again. So for me, opening and a close above 3,000 would be a wait and watch levels for me.
Within the IT and telecom space, Piyush ji, where have you stuck your neck out? We've discussed Bharti Airtel in great detail. Any view that you would have on Vodafone? Millions and millions of investors have been stuck into Vodafone Idea, attracted by its single digit price, but they are bleeding as well.
But I would say for Vodafone, the stock has mostly bottomed out, and the current levels mostly bottomed out. Most of the negatives are priced in. But having said that, I would say that how the stock will pan out, it depends on number of ifs and buts. For example, when this company is able to raise its bank debt of around rupees 250 billion, plus there is also some expectation of relief from the government regarding AGR dues, and also like how its 5G capex pans out in the coming quarters. So I would say lots of ifs and buts, and it depends on whether government converts its debt to equity part. And currently, Vodafone is still losing customers. So in a way, it needs to be seen when Vodafone starts adding customers. So currently, it remains well behind other two players like say Jio and Bharti. But having said that, I would say it remains very, very speculative, very risky. But the stock has bottomed out, and one needs. So if one has invested, one needs to be very, very patient. And but having said that, I would prefer Bharti compared to Vodafone at current levels.
Okay, okay, fair point. Since IT is your hunting background, Piyush given the depreciating rupee and the fact that there seems to be at least some traction in global tech spending, what would be the one or two big IT stocks that you would want to add to your portfolio, given the current sell-off that we are witnessing there as well?
See, in IT, I would say generally mid caps, tier two names they have corrected. And I would say tier one names like Infosys, TCS have remained relatively resilient. So having said that, I would say two names I would go with like say Coforge. Coforge remains one of my topic in the IT space, and the company continues to deliver, I would say, industry-leading numbers in terms of growth and margin. Plus, they have been adding employee base, and attrition remains low. And in terms of management track record, in terms of delivering, in terms of execution, it remains very well placed. In fact, even I would say Coforge has corrected over the last, I would say, month. And I would say at the current levels, one can add Coforge and be assured that I would say reasonably assured about its industry-leading performance in the coming quarters in terms of growth and margin. And second stock I would pitch is LTI. LTI is going through a period of transition. Leadership changes are there. But in terms of, I would say, skill set, in terms of capabilities, they have a diversified set of capabilities across data, cloud, and plus there's also a story of recovery margin. So you would recall that during the merger of LTI and Mindtree, their margin was impacted because of merger related issues. But now we can expect margin to rebound gradually over a couple of years. Plus, demand is recovering across, I would say, across verticals, but primarily in BFSI and the rupee depreciation. So rupee depreciation along with improving demand is something which will support IT stocks, IT companies. And margin, and most of them are delivering, I would say, stable to improving margin profile. And they have started adding headcount. So in a way, I would say IT stocks
Right, sir.
remains.
Please allow me to just focus on market opening. I'll come back to you. Markets have opened with a gap down, ladies and gentlemen. The Nifty down 200 points, Bank Nifty down 400 points. The IT index has lost 1%, which is 344 points. Let's look at the pain in the small cap and the mid cap. Both are down 2 percentage points each. So now the mid cap 100 index comes into bear territory after correcting a 20% from its all-time high. The small cap index is now down 24% from its all-time high, and the advanced decline today is terrible. 312 shares are in the green compared with 1865. So it's a very, very easy 1:6 advanced decline ratio favoring bears on Dalal Street. We track 19 indices, all 19 of them are in the red. The top loser is the realty index down 2.7%. The Nifty Alpha 50 is down 2.5%. Mid cap 100 down 2%. Let's look at the NSE 500, 1.2% lower at 20,387. Out of 500 shares, ladies and gentlemen, 483 are in the red. Could there be a worse start? Unlikely. So what you will see, the index flattening out at about 24,780, 760. 22,780, 760, my apologies. In terms of the top 10 index heavyweights, only Hindustan Unilever is in the green, and that too marginally, pointing out to the defensive nature of the market. 2320 for you on lever. What is in pain? State Bank of India 1.2% lower, 713 rupees 50 paisa. L&T 1.6% lower, 3200. How about the index heavyweights? HDFC Bank down 6 rupees, we can live with that, 1688. How about ICICI Bank down 8 rupees, 1252. We can live with this also. How about Reliance, 10 rupees lower, 1210. So nothing much in terms of physical pain that we are witnessing, but it's just that the general slide in the market is so high that it's painful. M&M, which we were hopeful of, is opening 4.5% lower, 2810. Manappuram Finance 6% higher. This is something to be looked forward to, 189. Let's get Prashant Tapse into the market view. Prashant, a quick look on Manappuram. This is which had fallen dramatically, but seems to be recouping equally sharply. 189.20. Would you step in?
I think yes, post this Q3 earnings, the story is still positive in the Manappuram Finance. The way how gold has been the major trigger for the upside. Again, with respect to their margins, their AUM, everything sounds good. I think at this level again, I may not go fresh buy, but those who have bought it earlier, I think that would be a hold call for them. So overall, I'm still positive. I think the stock can do 195 and 200 in a very shorter period of time.
Okay. There is a mild bout of greenery on the market. The Nifty is now above 22,800. Of course, this is just a bounce which is intraday. But what's really clicking in the green are the pharma companies, and they are doing pretty well. Look at Lupin. Lupin had come up with a very, very strong set of earnings. Amongst the top gainers, you have GlaxoSmithKline Pharma, up 14%. Suven Pharma, up 2.3%. PPL Pharma at 193 is gaining 4.3%. Many other gainers, AstraZeneca, Indigene 4% higher, AstraZeneca adding 5%. Jubilant Pharma were 982, 3.4% higher. Eris Life Sciences 2.6% higher. To you, Piyush ji, while you track only IT and telecom, is there a favorite pharma counter that you have?
I would be like say difficult, but I would prefer large caps. Large caps like say Sun Pharma or Dr. Reddy's. Yeah.
Sun Pharma or Dr. Reddy's. Fine. Thank you, Piyush ji, for your time. Very kind of you to step in and discuss the early morning trade with us. Here's wishing you a great day ahead. Let's take our conversation to Prashant. Prashant, pharma looks good. And it's been one of the bigger beneficiaries of better places as far as safer, relatively safer places in the market. What looks good to you on charts as far as pharma is concerned?
I think again, Dr. Reddy's again, but not at this price. I'm just watching for a good level to start with. So I think 1180 or 1175 can be a good level to watch and then start buying Dr. Reddy's. Better to go with large caps because again, mid cap, small caps, there may be some kind of selling pressure from the FIs again. So that will keep the stocks under pressure. So one should try to hunt some of the large cap stocks in the pharma. So my favorite would be Dr. Reddy's again, but not at this level. 1175, 1180 can be a range to buy if we get it today at any end of the time.
Okay, fair point. Anything that you are observing in the market on the long side so far? A very nice round of short covering is pushing the index above 22,860. Now down just 65 points. You'll see this happening for the first 15-20 minutes for all those people who had gone short in the market and are now covering those shorts, booking profit. Just as the market rises above 22,800, 900, you will again see selling pressure. Prashant, what are you observing?
So our trading opportunity again, Tata Motors looks good. Again, it's trading just positively in the opening trade. So I think any close above or any trade above 690 can be a very strong candidate for a very 10-15 rupees trade. So considering markets being so volatile, again 10-15 rupees trade should be considered in these markets only, and again stop loss of 680. So this can be the only trade which I am looking forward.
Okay, let's do a detour in the markets and talk about some good points that are now moving up. Let's just check the markets on a broader level. Remember, we started with 312 stocks in the green. Now 900 stocks are in the green. Is this a dead cat bounce? Only time will tell. But so far, let's enjoy it till it happens. You have a sea of green. Let's look at the most active counters. Any of them have improved. Okay, Mannapuram is going great shakes. We'll have to check on GlaxoSmithKline Pharma, 13% higher. I'm sure this is news driven. What else is moving in the green? Bajaj Finance, Tata Motors, and Bombay Stock Exchange. Bombay Stock Exchange is something that we need to look at. Prashant, would you want to analyze the chart? You have 51.25 for you, and the BSC, I remember very clearly, was somewhere like 5800. Not too far off.
I think yes, technically stocks could be very attractive. 5,000 is a very make or break level for the stock. Anytime the stock goes down below 5,000, there is a sharp no comeback in the market. So I think any trader who would like to take a risk of a very shorter 100-200 points as a stop loss can have a trade on this with a target of 5,500. So overall, this is the good trade for the day.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 9:24. A lot of activity on the green side now. Let me highlight some winners from the small cap index. I know this is a very painful task, but let's go for it. Swan Energy, 4.2% higher in the small cap index, 458.0. Glenmark Pharma, the numbers were good. We'll discuss that. 0.7% higher, 1333. You have Laurus Labs, 1.3% higher. Natco Pharma. Okay. Natco Pharma is something to be looked at. The stock fell 20% post its earnings and then another 10% immediately the next day. Now at 889, now at 887. Chances of a swing trade, Prashant, on Natco Pharma. What are the charts telling you at 885?
I think yes, there can be a smart, short trade in the Natco Pharma. Despite the numbers were really bad in terms of their earnings, the stock has driven almost 30% from the post results. So I think there can be a small, oversold position kind of situation right now. So there can be a sharp, comeback with 20-25 rupees upside. So yes, a risky trader can do a small trade with a stop loss of 875, a very small stop loss with a target of again 900, 910. Can be swing trade very fast again with respect to giving respect to stop losses again.
Okay, fair point. That's a fairly strong view coming in on Natco Pharma. Now let's look at some other parts of the market that are now moving in sync. Okay, let's look at the indices. Is there any one at all which is in the green? I doubt that very much. Of course there is. Nifty Pharma Index up 0.33 at 20,822. The reason why I point out the Nifty Pharma Index is that there are a lot of pharma ITs, there are a lot of pharma ETFs that are available. Let's look at the chart structure. The index is below 200-day DMA. We have seen a high of 23,845 on the pharma index. This was on 10th of October. Let us see how far the correction is. It's 14% on the pharma index. Okay, that's good. Let's see if it stabilizes. The level that you see, 20,719, was last observed on 23rd of July. So again, a 6-month low that is on the market as far as the pharma index is concerned. Is this a good opportunity to add? Only time will tell, but please keep an eye out on this. And now I'm trying something radical. Is there an all-time high in the market? Yes. In this pane, ladies and gentlemen, you have Reddington, 247.44, up about 1%. Are there stocks at 52-week highs? There's just one, which is Redington. Are there stocks at upper circuit, buyers only? Okay, how interesting. There are many, but I don't want to name them because these are not stocks that we generally talk about. But there is one interesting stock index that I'd like to point out. It is a Mafang ETF. This has been a roaring success that we have tracked at Business Today Television. From the asset management company of Mirai, you have Mafang ETF now at 143.90. For those who've been with us over the last 2.5 years, we've pointed out this ETF from about 36, 37, 40 rupees, and in a span of more than 1.5 years, it's given a 4x return. So this is something that is interesting in a time when the broader markets are in pain. Prashant, anything that you are observing?
Again, Tata Motors should be the stock one should focus more today. I think there can be a good bounce with very small stop losses to almost 800 and 700 plus as a target. And in the pharma space, I think granules looks
fine.
good for a short
920 granules.
Yes.
Okay. Granules looks good. So far, the NSE 500 is dominated by volume buzzers from the pharma space only. Glaxo, 2251. Let's look at the chart of Glaxo. This is not a stock that we discuss often, but up 13% today. Yes, 11.5% now. This is a bounce that's happening from, not many people track this, but I do. This is a bounce that's happening from 365-day exponential moving average, and this is a low that we had seen from 10th May 2024. I'll request the PCR to fire a longer term chart of Glaxo Smithkline Pharma. I'll tell you the correction levels that have happened. Okay, it's corrected from a high of 3073 down all the way to 2100. So that's a very easy 35% correction. That's a nice Fibonacci number. Prashantji, GlaxoSmithKline Pharma for you. Any views?
I think yes, the reaction is all because of the results which were 2 days back. Friday there was a result on the stock, and the profits were almost a 400% rise on almost QOQ basis. So that was the only reason why stock is up today. Again, no fresh buying at this point of time. Again, it's a profit booking attempt can be seen anywhere between 2300.
Okay. Now let's look at the market components, ladies and gentlemen, within the Nifty. At its day's high, and in the green is HDFC Bank, 1696. At its day's high, Bajaj Finserv. I'll request Prashantji to take a look at Bajaj Finserv. We'll just come to him shortly. This is at 1856. The counters up 14 rupees. Also at day's highs, L&T 3239 and Reliance 1217.95. This is a bounce that is happening on the market again at 22,800 levels. Ladies and gentlemen, there could be a base building that's happening, but this is the only positive view that I can offer you as far as the Nifty is concerned. Will this base continue to build? Only time will tell. But 22,800 is something that the bulls are not, giving over to the bears very easily. Bajaj Finserv for you, Prashantji, 1856. What are the charts telling you?
Still positive again. I think it's holding from last 7 days. So that shows the strength in the counter as well as in the technical charts. I think the stock is headed towards again 1900, 1920 on a positive side. But I'm not so comfortable to have a fresh position at this point of time.
Okay. Again down 124 at 22,805. The Nifty Bank down 200 points at 48,877. IT index is in pain. Wow, 570 points lower at 40,741. Let's look at the IT index in terms of its positioning in the market. it's the top loser in terms of indices. Okay. The reason, ladies and gentlemen, why the IT index is in news today is that it is now at its 200-day moving average. A break below this will signify more pain. Remember, IT has held on because of a weak rupee. The IT index has corrected only 11.5% compared with more than double losses on the mid cap and the small caps. But today is a crucial day for the IT index. What you see is a low of 4th November, now negotiating the 200-day moving average, and it has fallen continuously for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trading sessions. Prashantji, a view on the IT index?
I think despite rupee being depreciated, the sector is almost in the deep trouble from last almost 7-8 days. So I think it will continue still. It is moving towards oversold zone. I think that would be the only reason why stock is trading very much below. So I think if you compare last term of Trump to 1.0, IT index was almost down by 20% in 3-4 years. So I think that fear is still continuing to be in this term also. The index is totally under deep trouble. I think the index can go towards 38,500 levels if the selling pressure continues. So I'm still negative on this stock. Only one stock looks good for me on a oversold position would be TCS on the heavyweight. So TCS can be only stock which can be one hunting stock for the traders as of now.
Okay. TCS, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at this superb wealth creator that is being recommended by Prashantji. Remember, the company got listed in August 2004, and this is the 21st year of its listing. What you see, TCS is at 3887. This is corrected all the way down to 27th of June. So nearly a 6-month low, and from its all-time high of about 45.88. This is on 30th August. Let me just make this 45.88 to today's low 38.52. It's corrected about 16%. So that's how it is, ladies and gentlemen. Is there some hope building in the market on the long side? I would really not count on it, but that's it. 9:35. We've had a nice bounce in the morning. Those were shorts that were covered by smart traders who carried forward their short positions from Friday. Of course, this looks very intelligent in hindsight, but is very difficult to do, especially after an 8-day fall on the Nifty. Let's get into the F&O space. Let's see what are the stock futures that are doing well. Please allow me a moment. I'm just rebooting the software. F&O stocks. Okay, top performers. Again, it's Mannapuram Finance and Kalyan Jewellers, up 7.3 and 2.3% respectively. Jubilant Foodworks, 1.4% higher, 677. NCC Paytm up 1.4, 2.2%. Interestingly, I don't see a good stock that I can talk about. Sun Pharma maybe 1% higher, 1717. Angel One 2.2% higher, 22.57. Losers on F&O, well, there's pain on PB Fintech, 4.5% lower at 1500. That's not looking good. M&M 4.2% lower, 2817. Again, not looking good. Deepak Nitrite and Coforge are also 3.5% lower. So the percentage loss on stocks that are falling down are far higher than the percentage gains that stocks are showing on the green side. But one stock that has always attracted traders on the long side is Aurobindo Pharma. The broader theme is also on the long side as far as pharma is concerned. Let's get Prashantji in on Aurobindo Pharma Limited. Well, interesting. 1139, about 1% higher. The charts don't show strength, but the stock is still on, how should I say, fairly flat for the last 2.5 months, when markets have fallen substantially. Aurobindo Pharma, Prashantji?
I think it is trying to just bounce from its almost 1 month low. That is the only reason why the stock is trying to be on a positive side. Again, the index is on the positive side. Again, obviously, the whole sector stocks are trying to trade in the positive zone. Obviously, you are right saying that there is no strength right now. But again, if the stock closes above 1178 or 1170 for a week at least, so that there can be some kind of positive strength in the Aurobindo Pharma stock.
Okay, okay, fair point. Also on the uptick is Reddington. I think, Prashantji, we need to discuss Reddington. Record high in a market, ladies and gentlemen, which is bleeding. Prashantji, your very quick view on Reddington. Meantime, let me see if I can rustle out the third quarter earnings of Reddington. At a record high at a time when you have pain across the board.
So I'm just even I'm doing some googling on that why the stock is trading at 52-week high. But obviously, yes, one reason can be the earnings. That can be the only reason why the stock should be on a greener zone. Again, with respect to valuations, again looks comfortable. Again, a forward PE of almost 12 considered to be very decent in this market. In terms of return ratios, again obviously very positive 20% ROC and again 15 to 18% ROE. That gives a very comfort level for very decent fundamental stocks to be on a positive zone. But overall, again, there should be one reason the stock is trading at 52-week high. I mean, we need to check it in detail. I think earnings are out. I still doubt. Yes, earnings are almost out. The numbers are looking good.
Yes, I have.
Numbers are good.
Yes, the earnings are with me. 14% higher as far as the third quarter earnings are concerned, top line is concerned, 26,716. Net profit is up 17% at 403 crores versus 348 a year ago, and sequentially versus 283. Reddington, ladies and gentlemen, is a company which resells. It's a reseller. So Apple phones, Samsung phones, and so on and so forth is what you buy from Reddington online. That's why you have the operating margin just at 2% because it makes a very small fraction of the phone price that it sells, but it sells volume, and therefore you see the top line at about 26,716. What's the net profit? I said 403 crores. Anything interesting that I can find out apart from that? Yes, Prashantji, you want to say something?
The profit of 403 crores is almost 12 quarters high. So that is very strong to look at in terms of numbers.
Okay, fair point. That's the view, ladies and gentlemen. It's backed by a fairly strong top line and bottom line. But going strong on Glaxo, 16% higher, now 18% higher, 2398. This is buying at lower levels. So Glaxo is something that's doing intensely well. What else is in the green among major stocks? I can mark Uflex for you, 7.5% higher at 491. Kirloskar Brothers, 4.8% higher, 1796. Any other names that I want to take on air? Suven Pharma, yes. Suven Pharma also came out with a strong set of earnings. It's up 4.5% at 1135. What are the views on Suven Pharma for you, Prashantji? How are you checking this stock? Again, the performance of Suven Pharma has been fairly good.
Yeah, if I go with charts again, I think there is a strong sentiment in the stock as well as the sector. So the stock should try to touch at least 1180, which is the immediate target for the stock. And if it closes above this again, 1200 can be the near-term target. So overall, the stock looks very strong.
Okay, Glaxo 19.3% higher. I'm sure this is now a circuit candidate, although nothing much is left on this one. But what we'll do is check out the the circuit limit on Glaxo, and because it's up 20%, this essentially means that you might have a bounce again tomorrow. You have the circuit at 24.21. We are already at 24.01, so there's nothing much left, but you can be fairly certain that all those stocks in the pharma space that have been beaten down are now headed higher. Natco Pharma 896, remember it went down 20% and it went down 10% post earnings, now showing signs of strength at 897. Glaxo 20%. So work is over for Glaxo at 20%, ladies and gentlemen, today. And what's the volume? There is still volume happening on the circuit. 14 lakh shares have been traded. Remember, this is a swing trade in the making, so maybe something upfront again going to happen tomorrow as well. And Redington. So these are the two stocks that we've discussed on earnings, ladies and gentlemen. Redington as well as Natco Pharma. Please keep an eye out on this one. Natco from reversal, and of course Redington a fresh record high. Prashantji, anything that you're observing?
It's very difficult to scan these markets right now. Very, very difficult to catch any stock. So again, my eyes are again on the M&M. I need to see how the stock will rebound back again, on Tata Motors, again on Bharti Airtel. So these are the three stocks which I am watching to have a hunting stock.
Okay, fair point. This is the view that you have on the market. More pain for the Nifty. It's now given up 22,800. Okay. Nifty IT is negotiating their 200-day moving average. 524 points lower, 40,780. Let's look at the contributory stocks in the Nifty IT index. I'll tell you the month to date performance, the reasons for this losses. TCS is down 5% so far in February. Emphasis is down 11%. L&T Technology Services is again down 11% in the first fortnight of February, 48.58. Persistent down 10%, 54.41, and Coforge down 8% at 75.64 in the last 10 odd trading sessions in the first fortnight of February. One important point to make, Coforge and Persistent are the top two mid-cap holdings across mutual funds. So this is two ways to look at it. One, mutual funds will come and save that stock because a large part of their NAV is reflected from there, or you will have selling. So both Persistent and Coforge have moved down from their all-time highs to the extent of about 10-12%. So please keep this thought in mind. Also, the wealth management space seems to be turning around, at least for today. So amongst the gainers, you have MCX, you have Angel One up 2%, Indian Energy Exchange up 1.7%, and of course you have NAM India, JM Financial up 1.5% or so. Strong moves coming into Oro Pharma. This is something we've already discussed. Prashantji, would you want to comment on MCX? For the moment, you have a price of 54.30, and the reason it is important today that it's bouncing from 200-day moving average.
Yes, that is the only reason why the stock is trying to safeguard his 200 EMI support. But again, whenever BSE and any other capital market stocks are in action, Angel One, MCX, or any other capital market stocks will see some kind of positive actions. I think due to BSE in a very stronger zone, again exchange stock, again MCX looks very positive, but there is no strength yet. So any close below 200 DMI can again still bring a lot of selling pressure in the stock, and the stock can move towards 5,000 levels in a very faster way.
Okay, fair point. Almost 947, and while we are discussing MCX, let's also look at IEX. This is the Indian Energy Exchange, where a lot of power is sold and bought fairly regularly. What you see is 166, and this level has been tested once on 28th of January, again on 13th of January, and before that on 22nd of November. So 167, 165, 160 is a very, very strong support on Indian Energy Exchange. Prashantji, would you want to comment?
I think yes, fundamentally, I think the stock looks good for another 3 to 6 months. Reason being again the business model, again power trading business. So I think going forward the power will be on a peak demand again for the summer. So I think the third time it has bounced back from 160 levels. On or before summer, the stock can go towards 195 and 200. So that can be a safe, smart trade. But again, a stop loss of again 10 rupees from current levels, which should be respected.
Fair point. Now let's take a detour into the Nifty. Within the F&O space, let's look at the Nifty gainers and the Nifty losers. Okay, we've already discussed Bajaj Finserv. It's the top gainer on the Nifty. Asian Paints, Coal India down up about 1% each. Tata Motors and Sun Pharma up about 1% each. Now remember, there is blood on the street, so one really doesn't expect a strong outperformance as far as gainers are concerned on any index, leave alone the Nifty. But what is in pain? Profit booking on Mahindra and Mahindra. This has been one of those star outperformers on the Nifty for many, many months, and now undergoing a bit of churn, 4% lower at 28.23. Tata Motors, my apologies, Hero Motors down 2%. ICICI Bank down 1.5%, Infosys down 1.4%, and BEL down 1.3%. So these are 4 or 5 stocks that are in pain. Something interesting I'd like to point out in terms of the top traded index stock future today, it's M&M. So volume, profit booking, as well as positive news. Take it as you can, but this is how it is. Followed by a very high beta stock, Mannapuram Finance, as also Tata Motors. Let's check the chart of Tata Motors with Prashantji. Prashantji, this has been one of these outstanding shares, but now undergoing a massive, massive correction. Firstly, your view on Tata Motors for the medium term, and what would you suggest at 685? The stock has halved.
Yes, right. From 1100 again 685. So overall, I'm positive on the stock on a fundamental basis. Again, I think Jan numbers were better than expected. Even December and November numbers were slightly down. But I think with respect to valuation side, again very comfortable at this point of time. 6 to 8 P, price to book value of 3x. Again, I think 680 and 660 can be a range one should start accumulating this stock on a medium term as well as a long term story. But on a very shorter period of time and a trading opportunity, again, a stop loss of around 675 can be seen, very nice stop loss. Again, a target of almost 700 and 712 can be a quick trade for anyone who would like to trade on Tata Motors.
Interestingly, I'd like to point out that Tata Motors on its weekly chart, ladies and gentlemen, is just touching its, you will not believe, it's the 200 week average. So 200 weeks, if you divide it by 52 is almost a 4-year average that you see. When was the last time this average was tested? This was in January of 2021, when this stock came above its 200 week average. So you can well imagine the kind of selling pressure that Tata Motors has seen over the last we had a high in July of 2024. So over the last 6-7 months, the stock has been taken out to the cleaners and fallen 45% from its all-time high. So this is how it is, 953. The index on the Nifty is down 150 points, 22,775. The Bank Nifty is down 345 points. In pain today is the IT index as it negotiates between the bulls and the bears at its 200-day moving average. And in top form are pharma stocks, in particular GlaxoSmithKline Pharma, which is recovering very, very sharply from its 6-month low. Prashant ji, anything that you've observed?
Very difficult to scan. Facing very difficult to get any immediate trades except Tata Motors again for me.
Okay, fair point. So these are 2 or 3 interesting stocks that we are looking at. Also in the green is Godfrey Phillips. This is a cigarette maker. We generally don't discuss these stocks on air because of their syntax issues, but second day of gains on very, very smart volumes that we saw on Friday. More than 29 lakh shares were traded on Godfrey Phillips, and the counter is now at its highest since November. Would you want to analyze Godfrey Phillips?
I think yes. If you see the cigarette volumes of ITC, again, it has been the best quarter for the cigarette business. So I think that may be the same reason why the stock has rebounded very fast from 4,500 to almost 6,200 right now. If this same trend continues, I think with the volume growth, the stock can touch even 7,500 very soon in a shorter period of time.
Okay. And that came on the back of a very, very strong quarter. Earnings were declared on Valentine's Day. 27% rise on sales at 1896 crores. Net profit rose 50% to 316 crores versus 212 a year ago. Let me just check this very interesting data for you. At quarterly sales at 1896 crores have been the highest at least in the last 4.5 years, and net profit of course 316 crores from the data that I have is the highest since December 2021. So absolutely no reason why we should doubt this very sharp jump in the stock price. And as Prashant ji was pointing out, the most recent high on Godfrey Phillips was 8,500 that we saw on 16th of September. There's a battle, corporate boardroom battle that's also brewing within the family for the eventual control of Godfrey Phillips, but that's a different story altogether. So winners few and far between, but interestingly, in the top traded list today, you have GlaxoSmithKline, 390 crores traded, Godfrey Phillips, 371 crore traded, 5% higher, and Manappuram Finance, 353 crores traded in the first 40-45 minutes of trade. Your closing comments, Prashant ji, how does Monday feel?
I think it is really first day of this week again. Taking this 180 points and the opening shot is a very negative shot again. So I think FIs will continue to be on the negative side. That will be the only reason why the whole week may go bad. But again, technically, close below 22,750 today or tomorrow. I think that will be the only reason why I will feel stock can go towards index can go below 22,500. So overall, the negative trade for this whole week.
Okay. This is time to wrap up the show, ladies and gentlemen. 9:57. Prashant ji, thank you so much for your views, especially on Tata Motors. This is something which investors should also look at. Buy the pain, but should pain be bought immediately? Only time will tell. A good sip into frontline counters such as Tata Motors at a time when they've corrected 40-45% from their peak historically has shown given substantial returns, but please do consult your individual advisor before you step into it based on Prashant ji's views. 9:57. Let's wrap this show for the moment. Monday has started on a back foot, ladies and gentlemen. The Nifty is down for the 9th day in a row. Both the Nifty and the Bank Nifty are the worst performing major indices globally on a year-to-date basis. Both are down between 3.8 to 3.5% respectively. It is only Indian markets that are suffering. Across the board, there is green in Asia, there is green in Europe, and of course there is green in the US. The primary reason is extreme overvaluation. You have seen deep cuts coming into the mid cap and the small cap space, down 1.5% each, but overall the mid cap index from today onwards is in bear market territory. It has corrected 20% from its all-time high. The losses on the small cap index deepen further. Now it's down 24% from its all-time high. There is pain all around, but today's market has seen some good bounces coming up back into the defensive counters, such as GlaxoSmithKline Pharma up 20%, and of course news driven, which is Godfrey Phillips, which is Manappuram Finance, all showing signs of strength. Overall, ladies and gentlemen, the picture appears to be bleak for bulls, but this is a very, very good time to look at a multi-cap fund, and this is something that we'll be discussing at 11 a.m. Thank you for joining us. Have a nice day and remain glued to Business Today Television. There is a lot that's happening on the other side of the break. Thank you for watching.
1982 से हमारा अकाउंट है यहाँ पर, ये बैंक में
अकाउंट एक्टिविटी कुछ चालू ही नहीं है।
दिस इज द वन काइंड ऑफ द करप्शन ना।
हमारा हक का पैसा हमको जल्द मिलना चाहिए बस।
Kiosk outside Vijayanagar Bank of New India Corporation Bank in Andheri, Mumbai. Anxious, confused and desperate account holders in long queues after Reserve Bank of India imposed strict restrictions on the bank, stopping all withdrawals and deposits.
From the beginning, we have the accounts in this bank, और ये शेड्यूल बैंक था।